Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here with Crypto Common Sense, and I have your cryptocurrency / Bitcoin update for December the 1st. So I haven't really been at my desk today, guys. I've been at the grocery store, been doing some shopping, getting ready for the holidays and stuff like that, but I wanted to try to knock this out for you. So I sat down. I've only taken a quick look, haven't taken a super in-depth look at the charts, but I think I have a fairly decent idea of what's going on. Not a lot's changed since yesterday, so we're going to dive right into that. But before I do, please do me a huge favor, hit the thumbs up button on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So the first thing I really want to talk about today is the CME chart, right? CME is going to open back up in a couple of hours from now, and when it does, we got to take a look at where this gap is going to exist at if price doesn't change between now and then. So if you look at price right now, Bitcoin's right around 7,370. But price closed on Friday at 7,805. So if this thing cannot pump back up between now and then, we're going to end up with a fairly large gap that looks something like this, right? We had the exact same thing last week where price dumped, the CME opened, and then price went up to fill in that gap. You can see that right here, right? So price had opened down here, went a little further, and then came up and filled in that gap quite nicely before moving back down another leg and, again, pumping back up. So I suspect people are going to be wanting to play that gap. But me personally, I don't think we're going to go right back up and fill that in. When I look at this thing, when I look at this chart over on BitMEX, a couple things going on. So we have the bearish retest of this yellow line. The yellow line is the downward sloping trend line from June until now. And it's the line that you get when you draw it from wick to wick. I don't really like drawing it from wick to wick. I like the closes better. But this has acted as strong support through here, and then it started acting as resistance. So I'm going to pay it some respect, and I'm going to pay attention to it. And when we look at that, we had a bearish retest, very textbook, and then a move down. We had this inverse head and shoulders, and the move up. And remember, I did a video on this. I think the target was around 8,800 bucks. This pumped all the way up to 8,000, not 8,800, sorry, 7,800. This pumped all the way up to 7,870. Played out that head and shoulders. In fact, I don't remember, so let me just measure it so I'm not fibbing here. So it had a target, let's call it 581. Yeah, it had a target right up here around 7,840. Okay, and you can see it played out perfectly. Textbook analysis. Gotta love it. Came up for another bearish retest of this downward sloping trend line. It failed, and down it went. It fell underneath this red line, which was a very important line of support / resistance. This was basically the close back here on October 24th, and now we're back underneath that. So me personally, okay, I think this thing is sending mixed signals, but me personally, I'm looking for this to move down a bit more before it moves up. So when I look at this on an hourly chart, and I start looking at this RSI trend line, look, we had this touch, we had this touch, we had a bearish retest, and we're coming up for another bearish retest now. This was the upward sloping trend line on the price, touch, touch. It failed, came up for a retest, false break above, tweezer tops, and then right back down. So I do suspect that this thing is going to move down further, but I think it'll bounce after that. I don't think that we're going to drop underneath, $6,000. We could, right? There's actually some stuff that would support a move down. So let me kind of show you. This is a very confusing picture right now. And I just want to be very clear about this, that I think it's dangerous to get too caught up trying to trade this right now. Because if you look at this, if we draw this trend from back here, right? We had this first trend, which I talked about in a couple of videos back, right? This was the first downtrend. We had the pullback, and then, the target was 7,500. Great. So this started this was our new top, this was our new bottom, here's our new top. This bounced off the 78.6 level and bounced up to test this line. And so there is a possibility that this thing comes down to 5,500 bucks. So that's one possibility. But the thing is, I don't really suspect that's what's going to happen, because it would take us outside of our downward channel. So let me show you that real quick. Okay. So we've got this downward channel here, and to get all the way down to 5,500 would put us way down here somewhere. I don't think so. I think it's possible that we come down and test the bottom of the channel like I talked about yesterday and then get a bounce. I think it's also possible we don't quite make it to the bottom of the channel, Maybe we get down to about 6,800 and then we see a bounce from there. But I still suspect, if I had to guess, I still think this thing is going to come down a bit, move up a bit, right? That would fill in the CME gap if it ends up being there, come down a bit, and then probably move all the way to the top of this channel, right? Somewhere between 8,800 and 9,100 if I had to guess. That's what I suspect is going to happen, all right? And then if we can get up there, I would love to open a short position up around this area. That's what I'm saying on the daily. And when I zoom out and we take a look at this RSI on the daily, again, this is a textbook bearish retest. We had this upward sloping trend line, price came under it, price came up for a bearish retest, and down, okay? If we break above this green line on RSI, I would be very, very hesitant to take any short positions until we fell back underneath it or until we had some type of bearish divergence showing up in the charts. So that's what I'm seeing right now on the daily and, of course, on the CME, right? I really like the way that gap is sitting there. I do think it'll come down a little bit and probably pump back up and fill in that gap. And again, it would automatically fill in that gap if it moves to the top of this channel. So I'm not super bearish short term, right? I'm not looking for 5 grand or 4 grand, but long term I still am, okay? I still suspect that after we get to the top of this channel, if we get there, that we're gonna probably move back down. And it was interesting because somebody was talking about this yesterday on Twitter, you know, telling me to be careful about going long at 6,000. And I agree with him. It's actually, I would have to be very careful about longing $6,000 because it could fall through the bottom of this. The thing is, if we look at where we're at in the market cycle, let me pull up a Twitter real quick. So if we're going by the psychology of a market cycle chart, right, I suspect, and this is a couple days old, I don't know, maybe about a week ago I did this chart. I suspect, yeah, here's the date, 11/25. I suspect we're probably somewhere around denial, that this was somewhere around denial, or this might actually be anxiety right here, and we might be getting ready to pump up and have denial. But the next move down from there, if we are indeed in this echo bubble, it's going to be panic, right? And panic is where things just completely fall apart, right? That's where people start to capitulate, meaning that, you know, you're suspecting it's going to bounce, and then instead of bouncing, it just keeps going down. And that's what we essentially saw in 2018 right through here, right? Went down, it looked like panic, and then all of a sudden it was just straight up capitulation to the bottom. So it could be that we do capitulate, that we do fall out of this channel, right, at some point soon. Or it could be we keep staying inside of it. It's a little cliche right now to stay inside this channel the way we have, because the reality is, and we can draw this to the closes here. Whoops. Come on, TradingView. If we draw it to the closes, it looks something like that, okay? Let's get a daily chart. So there you go, right? Drawing through these closes, there's the touch. And if we look at it like that, then first part of 2020, we would be down around, you know, 4,800 bucks or so. But, you know, eventually the channel's got to give. I don't suspect that we're just going to stay in that channel forever. That would be way too easy, right? I think we'll come down, we'll probably hit that 200 moving average, and that's where things are going to get really interesting, is that 200 weekly. There it is, right? Right now it's down around 4,900 bucks. It's going to keep sloping up for a bit because price is above it. So if we can find support on it, it could be that we never fill in this gap and we bounce off and start our new bull run. What's going to be interesting is if we do fall down to it and fall through it. Like if we fill in this liquidity gap here, then, you know, we got to watch and say, okay, is this going to turn into resistance? And if it does and bounces down, then I suspect it will go down and, you know, make a new low. That's what I'm watching for long term. But short term, I'm just going to keep scalping it for now. I've been taking mainly day trades and some really short, you know, swing trades, like swing trades that last maybe a day or two, like 36 hours, 48 hours, 72-hour type of stuff. Not comfortable sitting in any positions long term. And one of the other things about sitting in those positions is I want to be able to leave my house. This is like holiday season and stuff. So I'm not going to be glued to my desk near as much over the next few weeks. And so for me, day trading is just going to work better, right? Until we get up into like a perfect area where like 9,000 or something, you know, then if I had like a perfect setup, yeah, I would be happy to go for a swing short, because I still think we're in a bear market. I still think we're going much, much lower. And if I get into a short position up around 9 grand, I will probably just sit in that until we make a new low, right? I probably will not be looking for reasons to get out of it. As far as altcoins goes, Full disclosure, guys, I haven't even looked at them. Have not even looked at altcoins today. I don't know what they're doing. So if I take a look at the chart, probably not going to be much help on a 30-second analysis. Looks like we're sitting on top of that line, right? Found support on it, bounced off of it. But again, it doesn't mean much to me. It's just more chop, right? It doesn't give me a direction. It doesn't make me think, okay, we're for sure going up here, right? There's still resistance here that we couldn't break through. There's still resistance here that we couldn't close above, right? There's support down here. So to me, it just looks like it's just trading in this range. And again, this isn't even an actual index. This is just basically like a, it just adds everything up, total market cap. So you can't even trade this. So you've really got to go to the individual alt charts to really be able to trade anything. And they mostly look just the same. They mostly look like that. Every time I look at it, the majors look the same way, right? They're just trapped in ranges. So this is Litecoin. If we go to a weekly chart. So this was a strong level of support down here around 44 bucks, right? It bounced above it, but it couldn't close above 50, which is now resistance. So it's just stuck in that range. If we lose this support on Litecoin, I suspect we'll just go right down here and fill in this big liquidity gap, which is down around 34 bucks. And, I suspect if we do get there, that we'll probably see some type of bounce to try to retest this resistance. And then if that fails, probably fall at the bottom, okay? But I will be looking to long Litecoin if we get down to that $34 area. If it's backed up by other factors, I would definitely be looking for long setups. If I look at coins like EOS, which is another fairly large alt. See, the chart looks the same. It's pretty much the same chart. This one actually came down. It did fill in this liquidity gap, which was nice, right? Put in these nice tweezer bottoms, so that's right around $2.37. That was one of the gaps that I was watching on EOS. The other gap that I was interested in was this one right down here, right? It was a tiny little gap, so I had a lot less confidence that we would get there. But it is there. It's down around $2.12. And if we look at it daily, you could even say that it might be a little bit lower, down around $2 or $1.95. But it's interesting, right? We just keep coming in and perfectly filling in these gaps. Look at this. See that? There's that gap. Came down right there, touched it, came down and touched it again. Okay. So I think these altcoins really, I think they're just painting a picture of what Bitcoin is going to do, right? If we pull up this side by side with Bitcoin, and if I zoom out, take all the stuff off there because we don't need it. If you really look at this, and I posted this fractal up, a few months ago, right, of EOS, and Litecoin looks pretty much the same way as well, right? We had the top, it's moved down, now Bitcoin moved down. If I had to guess, I'd say this and this are about the same, right? So again, if you look, I'm suspecting that Bitcoin's going to pump back up to around 9 grand. That would be kind of like this area, and then move down and come in and fill in its gap, which is right down here, right? So I think the alts are just telling us, hey, this is what's going to happen, right? They have smaller market cap, so they move a little bit quicker. There's less money involved. So I think, anybody that's expecting Bitcoin to suddenly turn around and start shooting back up, I think that they are probably wrong. But time will tell. Right? Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm not looking along alts still. I'm still watching the alts because, the thing is if Bitcoin keeps falling, I think alts are going to keep falling with it, right? They may fall a little bit slower than Bitcoin because they've already fallen so much, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a lot of these altcoins fill in these old gaps and go lower, right? We could start talking about things like filling in these old gaps from 2017, right? I mean, here's one on EOS down around $1.17, which is actually right around where I bought my first EOS. I think I bought my first EOS at $1.85, and then I cost averaged when it got down to like 90 cents. But there is still a gap down there, right? Right around $1.19. That would be so rough. But it wouldn't surprise me because, again, if we pull up that Bitcoin chart, it would be very similar to going down and filling in this old, or well, not so much a gap, but it would be similar to going down and retesting this old resistance flip support, right? Look at that. See how similar that is? So I definitely think that, if Bitcoin loses these lows, I think most of these alts are going to go down and see themselves back at 2017 levels. And guys, I say that with no joy at all, right? I certainly don't want to see people lose that type of money. I know a lot of people are still stuck in their altcoins. So just kind of what I'm watching. These alts have been pretty accurate with depicting the future for Bitcoin, okay? With all that being said, I know this analysis is a little bit less in depth than some of my other ones. Again, I just haven't had a chance to really sit down and look at the charts. Much more interested in getting my holiday shopping done this weekend and that kind of stuff. And I've also been shooting the videos for this trading course that a lot of people have asked me to put together. So once those videos are done and once I'm done with my shopping and stuff, this next week should be back to normal. So still, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. So nothing in this video is trade advice or financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. If you haven't already, be sure and give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, you can check the description for links where you can follow me on TradingView, Twitter, where you can join my free Facebook group, and where you can join this trading course. Just keep in mind, the videos are not done yet. They'll be done by tomorrow. And then I'll do a whole nother video showing you the inside if you'd rather wait. Okay? This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Please trade safe.